Jai Gurudev, welcome and thank you for joining us to discuss how the teachings of His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji and the practices of the art of living can be applied to the lessons from a beautiful mind. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to delve into this insightful discussion. The film emphasizes the importance of originality and challenging established norms. How does the art of living encourage this? Gurudev often says creativity blossoms when the mind is calm. Practices like Sudarshan Kriya and meditation quiet the mental chatter, allowing original ideas to surface by reducing stress and enhancing clarity. Individuals are better equipped to think innovatively. John Nash's journey with schizophrenia highlights mental health challenges. How can art of living practices support mental well being? Sudarshan Kriya has been scientifically shown to alleviate symptoms of depression and anxiety by balancing the autonomic nervous system. Regular practice fosters emotional resilience, helping individuals navigate mental health challenges more effectively. The film showcases the power of love and support. How does the art of living foster deep connections? Through practices like satsang and seva, individuals cultivate empathy and compassion. Gurudev emphasizes that true love arises from a state of inner fullness, which our practices aim to nurture. Nash's academic pursuits were intense. How can one maintain balance in such environments? Incorporating short meditation breaks and breath work into daily routines can enhance focus and reduce burnout. Gurudev advises integrating mindfulness into work to maintain equilibrium. The film touches on ethical dilemmas. How does the art of living guide individuals in such matters? Our teachings emphasize the importance of inner integrity. Practices like Seva instill a sense of responsibility and service, guiding individuals to make ethical choices aligned with universal values. Personal growth is a recurring theme. How do art of living practices facilitate this? Regular sadhana, including meditation and breath work, fosters self awareness and discipline. Gurudev often says, the more you know about yourself, the more silent you become. This introspection is the key to personal development. Nash was goal driven. How can one pursue goals without becoming overwhelmed? By practicing mindfulness and staying present, individuals can focus on the process rather than just the outcome. Gurudev advises setting intentions and then surrendering the results, reducing anxiety and enhancing the performance. Decision making under pressure is challenging. How can art of living tools assist? A calm mind leads to better decisions. Techniques like pranayama and meditation clear mental clutter, allowing for clarity and intuition to guide choices. Understanding one's mind is crucial. How do you practice this? How do your practices enhance this? Sudarshan Kriya and meditation increase self-awareness, helping individuals recognize and manage their thoughts and emotions effectively. This leads to better emotional regulation and cognitive function. The film concludes with the profound life lessons. How does the art of living encapsulates this? Gurudev teaches that life is a celebration, embracing every moment with awareness, compassion, and joy is the essence of our philosophy. Through consistent practice, individuals can embody these universal truths. Jai Gurudev, how does the art of living promote originality like Nash's unique thinking in mathematics? His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji often says that creativity blossoms in a calm mind. Practices such as Sudarshan Kriya and meditation eliminate mental clutter, creating a fertile ground for original thoughts. Padma Sadhana enhances inner stillness, allowing brilliance to emerge from silence. In the movie, Nash's originality stood out, and similarly, art of living encourages free thinking by dissolving societal and internal limitations. Through satsangs and wisdom talks, seekers are inspired to look beyond the conventional, much like Nash's revolutionary work in game theory. This cultivation of inner silence and outer confidence fosters true innovation. How can art of living tools help challenge conventional wisdom respectfully as Nash did? Challenging norms with respect requires clarity and centeredness. Through Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama, one attains emotional stability and sharp intellect, ideal for constructive questioning. Gurudev teaches that to be a student always, which means remaining open yet discerning. Nash defied conventional economic models with mathematical elegance, not rebellion. Similarly, seekers are encouraged to bring reform through peace, not conflict. Pujas and satsangs build humility, reminding us that knowledge isn't about ego. The balance of wisdom and calm confidence that the art of living instills helps people innovate without arrogance or confrontation. Just like Nash's journey in challenging status quo, how does one maintain faith in their vision when no one else sees it yet? Gurudev says that doubt is a sign of intelligence, but it should not paralyze you. When one is rooted in sadhana, their inner conviction grows stronger than outer opinions. Nash had an unwavering belief in his work despite rejection. Similarly, Art of Living's practices like Shakti, Kriya, and Seva develop inner strength and patience. Meditation deepens one's faith in oneself and the divine plan. When aligned with a higher purpose, the loneliness of the journey transforms into devotion. Pujas and wisdom talks fortify this spiritual trust, allowing one to preserve with confidence and inner silence even amid opposition. How do we navigate the loneliness that can come with the genius or nonconformity? Loneliness arises when we feel disconnected. Gurudev often shares that when one meditates deeply, they experience a profound sense of connection with the universe. For those walking unique paths like Nash, Art of Living provides a spiritual family through satsang and seva. Sudarshan Kriya helps to solve emotional isolation and energizes the system. Seva gives purpose and companionship. The knowledge shared in books like Celebrating Silence offer insights that remove the pain of isolation. In truth, genius is often a call to serve in unique ways, and this is celebrated, not pitied, in the art of living. How can we remain anchored during internal chaos like Nash's hallucinations? Gurudev reminds us that the mind is like a kite, it needs grounding practices like Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama regulate breath, which in turn stabilizes the mind. Nash's hallucinations symbolize extreme internal dissonance. Art of living tools calm the nervous system and strengthen awareness, creating a space between perception and reality through Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2. One learns to observe thoughts without identification. The sacred rituals and homas and pujas also clear environmental and energetic disturbances. By regularly engaging in spiritual practices, one develops an inner anchor that remains untouched by the waves of mental turmoil. How does love act as a stabilizing force in mental health, as seen with Alicia's support? Gurudev teaches that love is the highest healing force. Alicia's unwavering presence offered Nash the emotional grounding he needed. In the art of living, love is cultivated through seva and community practices like Padma Sadhana open the heart chakra, increasing emotional resilience and compassion. Regular satsangs and meditations dissolve emotional blockages, making love flow naturally. Gurudev often says, be established in the self and act from love. This makes relationships nourishing rather than needy. In a mental health journey, such love becomes not just emotional support, but a spiritual anchor that aids healing. How can we continue our work even when dealing with personal mental struggles? Gurudev inspires us to move from effort to effortlessness. When mental struggles arise, the key is not resistance but surrender. Sudarshan Kriya has helped millions regain emotional balance and clarity. For someone like Nash, continuing work amidst turmoil required inner strength, which Art of Living builds through daily sadhana and wisdom instead of suppressing struggles. Seekers are encouraged to observe them with a detachment. With consistent practice, this becomes possible. The practice of Trikal Sandhya aligns one with natural rhythms, bringing calm and energy. Such alignment allows one to function and even thrive while healing inwardly. How does Art of Living help distinguish between illusion and reality in thought? The mind often projects illusions based on fears, desires, or conditioning. Gurudev says the intellect can be a friend or an enemy. Through meditation and Sayam sadhana of level 1 and level 2 practices, one develops the witness consciousness to observe thoughts without reacting. This witnessing allows clarity. Sudarshan Kriya helps clear impressions stored in the subconscious, reducing delusional tendencies. In Nash's case, hallucinations blurred his sense of real versus imagined. Spiritual wisdom they teach us discernment of what's changing and what is eternal. As seekers grow in awareness, they learn to trust intuition over impulsive thoughts, making life choices from a place of deep inner knowing. How can we stay humble when our intellect outspaces others around us? Gurudev says true intelligence is in knowing that you don't know. Nash's brilliance was remarkable, but it also created distance from others. In the art of living, humility is cultivated through seva, where even the most accomplished serve others without superiority. Pujas remind us of divine grace behind every achievement. Meditation dissolves ego, showing the vastness of existence. Engaging in community projects and listening to wisdom keeps one grounded. Through continuous learning and service, intellect becomes a tool of compassion, not pride. Humility then arises not from pretending to be less, but by being fully in service. How can we use our intellect for service, not just personal gain? Gurudev often emphasizes knowledge is for sharing. Nash's theories eventually benefit economics and international policy. Similarly, the art of living encourages the use of one's gifts for a higher cause through seva projects, education, rural development, disaster relief. People apply intellect with compassion. Satsangs and courses instill the joy of giving. Meditation enhances intuition, guiding the right application of knowledge. The real satisfaction, as Gurudev says, comes not from accumulation but contribution. In this way, intellect becomes a bridge between personal excellence and societal benefit, turning individual brilliance into a light for the world. How does the art of living promote originality like Nash's unique thinking in mathematics? Jai Gurudev, yes, His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji often says that creativity blossoms in a calm mind. Practices such as Sudarshan Kriya and meditation eliminate mental clutter, creating a fertile ground for original thoughts. Padma Sadhana enhances inner stillness, allowing brilliance to emerge from silence. In the movie, Nash's originality stood out, and similarly, the art of living encourages free thinking by dissolving societal and internal limitations through satsangs and wisdom talks. Seekers are inspired to look beyond the conventional, much like Nash's revolutionary work in game theory. This cultivation of inner silence and outer confidence fosters a true innovation. How can art of living tools help challenge conventional wisdom respectfully as Nash did? Challenging norms with respect requires clarity and centeredness to Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayams. One attains emotional stability and sharp intellect, ideal for constructive questioning. Gurudev teaches to be a student always, which means remaining open yet discerning. Nash defied conventional economic models with mathematical elegance, not rebellion. Similarly, seekers are encouraged to bring reform through peace, not conflict. Pujas and satsangs build humility, reminding us that knowledge isn't about ego. The balance of wisdom and calm confidence that the art of living instills helps people innovate without arrogance or confrontation, just like Nosh's journey in challenging status quo. How does one maintain faith in their vision when no one else sees it yet? Gurudev says doubt is a sign of intelligence, but it should not paralyze you. When one is rooted in sadhana, their inner conviction grows stronger than outer opinions. Nash had an unwavering belief in his work despite rejection. Similarly, art of living's practices like Shakti Kriya and Seva develop inner strength and patience. Meditation deepens one's faith in oneself and the divine plan. When aligned with the higher purpose, the loneliness of the journey transforms into devotion. Pujas and homas and wisdom talks fortify the spiritual trust, allowing one to preserve and persevere with confidence and inner silence, even amid opposition. How do we navigate the loneliness that can come with genius or nonconformity? Loneliness arises when we feel disconnected. Gurudev often shares that when one meditates deeply, they experience a profound sense of connection with the universe. For those walking unique paths like Nash, Art of Living provides a spiritual family through satsang and seva. Sudarshan Kriya helps dissolve emotional isolation and energizes the system. Seva gives purpose and companionship. The knowledge shared in books like Celebrating Silence offers insights that remove the pain of isolation. In truth, genius is often a call to serve in unique ways, and this is celebrated, not pitied, in the art of living. How can we remain anchored during internal chaos like Nash's hallucinations? Gurudev reminds us that mind is like a kite, it needs grounding practices like Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama regulate breath, which in turn stabilizes the mind. Jai Gurudev, so how can we stay humble when our intellect outpaces others around us? Gurudev says true intelligence is in knowing that you don't know. Nash's brilliance was remarkable, but it also created distance from others. In the art of living, humility is cultivated through seva, which even the most accomplished serve others without superiority. Pujas remind us of divine grace behind every achievement. Meditation dissolves ego, showing the vastness of existence. Engaging in community projects and listening to wisdom keeps one grounded. Through continuous learning and service, intellect becomes a tool of compassion, not pride. Humility then arises not from pretending to be less, but by being fully in service. How can we use our intellect for service, not just personal gain? Gurudev often emphasizes knowledge is for sharing. Nash's theories eventually benefited economics and international policies. Similarly, the art of living encourages the use of one's gifts for a higher cause. How can we develop the patience to see a long term vision unfold like Nash did with his work? Gurudev says patience is the ornament of the strong. Nash's theories took years to gain recognition. Similarly, spiritual growth or societal change often unfold slowly. Practices like Sudarshan Kriya and Padma Sadhana calm restlessness, building inner patience. Wisdom from books like An Intimate Note to the Sincere Seeker reminds us to enjoy the journey, not just the result. Seva offers hands-on experience of selfless action, reducing attachment to immediate outcomes by meditating daily and staying connected to satsang. Seekers develop deep trust in time and the divine, which enables them to walk their path with grace and perseverance. How does one handle rejection and failure without losing self worth, as Nash often faced? Gurudev says your worth is not in what others think of you, but in who you are. Rejection is inevitable on the path of excellence, as Nash experienced through regular practice of Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama. Emotional resilience is built. Meditation creates a space where one connects with their eternal self beyond success and failure. Seva helps us shift the focus from personal gain to community contribution, reducing egoic hurt. Pujas purify the subtle mind, releasing disappointment. Art of living wisdom teaches that failure is feedback, not identity. With this understanding, rejection becomes a redirection, not defeat. How can people facing mental illness or emotional trauma rebuild their identity? Gurudev gently reminds you are not the mind, you are the consciousness that observe it. Many suffer when they equate identity with mental states. Nash had to reconstruct his self image beyond his delusions. Similarly, Art of Living offers a multi layered approach. Sudarshan Kriya heals the breath body layer. Meditation anchors in silence. Wisdom reframes perspective. Seva provides a sense of purpose, and being part of a satsang offers a loving community. The spiritual path helps rediscover an unshakable identity rooted in the self, not in the fluctuations of the mind. Healing becomes a return to wholesome and wholeness, not a compensation. How can we harness the power of focused attention like Nash did in his research? Focus is the result of a calm and clear mind. Gurudev says the mind becomes sharp and the breath is steady. Nash's attention to detail was remarkable, yet such intensity often leads to burnout if not balanced. In Art of Living, Shakti Kriya and Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2 enhance concentration by stilling mental chatter. Recalls on their alliance inner rhythms with nature, deepening focus, while meditation improves awareness span and reduces distractions by balancing effort with a restful alertness. Seekers develop sustained attention that is creative, not stressful. The key is not more pressure, but deeper silence, which Art of Living cultivates beautifully. How can one deal with the burden of expectations like Nash faced from academia? Gurudev says, do your duty and let go of the results. Expectations often create stress and diminish joy. Nash had to meet intense demands, yet the weight of those expectations challenges stability. Art of Living teaches detachment through action. Daily sadhana clears stress impressions. Seva shifts focus from personal expectation to collective contribution. Meditation deepens contentment, reducing craving for external validation. Wisdom from talks helps reframe success as effort, not outcome. In this space of inner fulfillment, expectations lose their grip. The seeker becomes free to give their best without being enslaved by others' definition of success. How can the art of living guide those who are skeptical of spiritual paths like Nash's scientific mindset? Gurudev beautifully bridges science and spirituality, saying spirituality is the science of consciousness. Nash, rooted in logic, might initially question spiritual approaches, But art of living is experiential, not dogmatic. Practices like Sudarshan Kriya produce measurable physiological benefits, reduced cortisol, increased clarity, which appeal to the analytical mind. Gurudev encourages questioning, not blind belief. Many scientists, doctors, and intellectuals find grounding in the practices after personal experience. Books like The Art of Living, A Guide to Contentment, Joy, and Fulfillment present wisdom in a universal, logical tone. Skepticism is welcomed as it often leads to deeper inquiry and authentic discovery. How does the art of living support emotional expression while cultivating inner strength? Emotions are natural, but their grip weakens when the nervous system is strong. Gurudev often says it's okay to be emotional, but don't drown in it. Nash struggled to express and process emotion through Sudarshan Kriya. Emotional toxins are released naturally, not suppressed. Seva opens the heart to empathy, while meditation cultivates inner stillness where pain is witnessed, not indulged. Satsangs and chanting help release fear, grief, or anger in a sacred setting. Wisdom teaches detachment with compassion, not cold indifference. The result is a balanced inner space, sensitive yet resilient, expressive yet composed. How can spirituality help reconcile the inner and outer worlds as Nash had to do? Gurudev says, balance your inner and outer world, only then can you be whole. Nash's conflict was between his brilliant outer success and turbulent inner reality. Art of Living addresses this duality through integrated practices: outer action via seva, inner silence via meditation. Sudarshan Kriya bridges the breath of the body and the mind. Pujas and homas harmonize the environment, helping aligned inner energies. Wisdom helps synthesize logic and intuition, restoring balances. While when inner peace matches outer contribution, one becomes whole, like Nash eventually did through his personal acceptance and academic revival. This integration is central to the spiritual journey. How can art of living tools reduce overthinking as a problem Nash intensely battled? Overthinking is often unmanaged energy. Gurudev says, when the energy is high and the mind is calm, creativity flows. Nash's mental brilliance came with compulsive thought patterns. Sudarshan Kriya balances prana, calming the mind. Meditation gives the overactive intellect a space to rest. Trikal Sandhya reattunes biological rhythms, grounding thought loops. Satsangs lift energy from mental to emotional joy, while wisdom teaches that not every thought needs attention. The mind becomes a tool, not a tyrant, with a daily practice. The excessive analysis transforms into focused insight. Mental activity becomes creativity, not confusion. How can one stay rooted in self while navigating external honors like the Nobel Prize Nash received? Gurudev says, be like a lotus rooted in the mud yet untouched by the water. Fame and recognition are fleeting, yet they can inflate ego. Nash's Nobel Prize was a triumph, but art of living would guide one to remain humble. Meditation anchors the self, and silent seva reminds us we are instruments, not doers. Wisdom teaches that the real reward is inner peace, not public applause. Homas and pujas express gratitude to the divine source of all brilliance. This perspective ensures that even at the peak of success, the heart remains grounded, joyful, and unattached. How can one protect creativity while maintaining mental balance, as Nash had to do? Gurudev says creativity flows when the mind is calm and the spirit is joyful. Nash's creative genius walked a fine line with instability. In Art of Living, Sudarshan Kriya regulates the breath and prana, grounding scattered mental energy. Meditation creates space where inspiration arises spontaneously. Shakti Kriya enhances creative energy from the source. The Kundalini Seva keeps ego in check, so creativity doesn't become self obsession. Wisdom from Gurudev's talks help navigate between innovation and discipline. True creativity is not chaotic, it's the flow of life itself. And the mind is rested and emotions balanced, brilliance can shine without breakdown. How can the students handle academic pressure without mental breakdown? Gurudev says pressure is not what's outside you, it's how you respond to it. Academic environments today are like Nash's Princeton, highly competitive. Students often internalize stress. Regular practice of Sudarshan Kriya oxygenates the brain, reducing anxiety and improving focus. And meditation provides emotional stability. Padma Sadhana removes restlessness from the body, and pranayama brings clarity. Trikals and they attune students to nature's cycles, creating calmness. Wisdom from books like Celebrating Silence teaches that success is not just marks, but a balance. With these tools, students don't just survive pressure, they thrive with joy, awareness, and inner strength. How can one stay committed to a life purpose despite inner battles? Gurudev often says life is not just to exist but to express the divine. Nash never gave up on his mathematical vision despite mental challenges. Similarly, spiritual seekers may face doubt or inertia. Sudarshan Kriya dissolves deep impressions or samskaras that create inner conflict. Satsang ignites enthusiasm through collective energy, while Seva gives a daily purpose, reinforcing action over analysis. Books like Intimate Note to the Sincere Seeker offer deep reminders of the soul's journey. By aligning personal purpose with the universal will, one transcends doubt and rediscovers inspiration even during inner storms. The key is consistency in practice, not perfection in performance, Jai Gurudev. How can a family support a loved one going through mental illness like Alicia did for Nash? Gurudev teaches love is not just an unwavering love, just an emotion, it's a very nature. Alicia's unwavering love was Nash's anchor. Family support is crucial, and Art of Living offers tools for caregivers too. Sudarshan Kriya helps release emotional burnout. Meditation gives space for acceptance and patience. Satsangs provide community support, while Seva keeps life meaningful beyond the challenges. Gurudev emphasizes seeing the person beyond the illness. When caregivers remain centered through spiritual practices, their love becomes healing. Workshops like Happiness Program and Blessing Scores can offer peace and strength to family members walking this difficult day at a sacred path. How does the Art of Living promote unconditional love and acceptance? Gurudev says love is when you don't expect anything in return. Unconditional love, like Alicia's for Nash, is a rare strength. The Art of Living fosters this through deep spiritual practices. Sudarshan Kriya opens the heart by dissolving emotional blocks. Wisdom sessions teach the difference between attachment and pure love, while Seva is the expression of unconditional love in action. Satsangs help people celebrate each other without judgment. Meditation connects to the universal self, where love is innate. True acceptance arises not from effort but from inner fullness. This love is not possessive, it liberates both giver and receiver. How can people bounce back from public embarrassment or shame as Nash did? Gurudev reminds us you are like the sky untouched by passion passing clouds. Public shame can scar deeply as Nash experienced during his delusional episodes. The Art of Living helps clean the mind of guilt and regret. Sudarshan Kriya and pujas purify emotional impressions. Meditation reconnects one with an identity beyond reputation, while Seva shifts focus on serving others, restoring self esteem through meaningful contribution. Wisdom teaches that everyone makes mistakes, but the spirit is ever pure. Gurudev's compassion reminds us that forgiveness is possible for self and others. With regular practice, even the heaviest shame dissolves into lightness and self respect. How can spirituality help with paranoia and fear based thinking? Gurudev says fear is the absence of love. Where there is love, fear cannot stay. Nash battled paranoia, a distorted perception of reality. Art of Living heals at the level of prana. Sudarshan Kriya calms the autonomic nervous system, reducing fear response, while meditation rewires the mind to witness thoughts rather than be ruled by them. Regular sadhanas and pujas strengthen spiritual vibrations around the person, while satsang and community uplift one from isolation to inclusion. Gurudev's talks decode how fear is not real, it's a projection. As fear dissolves, faith grows, and clarity replaces confusion. How can we nurture empathy in a competitive world like Nash's academic field? Gurudev says compassion is strength, not weakness. Nash's world rewarded intellect, not empathy. But real success integrates too. Art of Living strengthens empathy through direct experience. Seva trains us to care for others without judgment. Sudarshan Kriya increases emotional sensitivity while keeping it manageable. Satsang builds bonds of shared joy, while meditation reveals our shared humanity beyond titles or status. Wisdom reminds us that all competition is temporary, but kindness endures. With these tools, people can remain sharp and soft, assertive yet compassionate, a holistic human being rather than a robotic achiever. How does one keep faith during prolonged struggle like Nash's journey? Gurudev says faith is to know that even the darkest night will pass. Nash endured the decades of struggle before redemption. Spiritual life strengthens faith not as belief but as inner experience. Sudarshan Kriya brings daily cleansing and renewal. Satsang inspires through shared stories of hope. Wisdom texts offer timeless reassurance, reminders of the bigger picture. Meditation connects us to the unchanging self beyond circumstances. Seva and homas build a punya or spiritual merit. Creating positive shifts, Gurudev teaches that everything is cyclic, nothing stays forever. When faith is grounded in practice, it carries one through any winter to inevitable spring. How can the art of living help people pursue excellence without becoming obsessive? Gurudev says, put your 100% and then relax. Obsession is excellence without balance. Nash was driven to the point of breakdown. Art of living teaches discipline with detachment. Sudarshan Kriya and Shakti Kriya bring inner stability, preventing overexertion. Meditation refreshes the mind, so one works with joy, not compulsion. Wisdom clarifies that excellence is effort aligned with harmony, not control. Seva helps balance personal ambition with the collective well being. With regular practice, one learns to enjoy the process, accept the results, and remain free. In this balance lies true mastery, where success doesn't steal peace. How can one overcome the fear of being misunderstood, like Nash often felt? Gurudev says you don't have to be understood, just be sincere. Nash's struggle with schizophrenia often made his thoughts hard to explain. Many people fear being judged or labeled through Sudarshan Kriya. One drops mental baggage and anxiety about others' opinions. Meditation brings inner silence where you stop needing validation. Seva shifts the focus from how am I seen to how can I serve. Wisdom talks, especially intimate note to the sincere seeker, guides one to become comfortable with authenticity. When rooted in self awareness, you realize being misunderstood is a passing wave where you remain the ocean. How do we accept imperfections in ourselves and others? Yes, Gurudev says imperfection is a part of nature. Even the moon has spots. Nash's journey was full of imperfections, emotional, mental, social. Acceptance begins with awareness. Sudarshan Kriya helps dissolve restlessness caused by rejection and perfectionism. Meditation and Padma Sadhana help see life as it is, not as we wish it to be. In satsang, we celebrate each other despite differences. Seva nurtures empathy. Gurudev's wisdom tells us not to chase flawless lives, but full lives. When you embrace your flaws, they become stepping stones to compassion, strength, and beauty. How can one cultivate hope in the midst of despair? Gurudev says despair means you have forgotten your true nature. Nash had moments when he gave up, but Alicia's love and his inner spark endured. In Art of Living, Sudarshan Prayer increases energy levels, which revives hope naturally. Meditation allows one to touch the peace beyond despair. Reading Gurudev's wisdom books fills the mind with uplifting knowledge. Seva reminds us that we still matter and can make a difference. Homas invoke divine blessings in this way. Hope becomes not a wish but an experience, a sunrise within, no matter how dark the night. How do you practice discernment between intuition and delusion? Gurudev teaches real intuition is always calm. Restlessness is not intuition. Nash's mathematical insights were often real, but his hallucinations were not. This fine line exists in every mind through practices like meditation. The third eye chakra opens, sharpening discrimination. Sudarshan Kriya reduces emotional fog, while wisdom from Gurudev trains one to question thoughts without becoming suspicious. Recall Sandhya and Upanayana rituals connect one to the Vedic energy of clarity and intellect. When the mind is still and sattvic, intuition flows naturally. When the mind is agitated, it distorts reality. Regular sadhana strengthens the ability to tell the difference. How can one maintain dignity even during a personal breakdown like Nash did? Gurudev reminds us your true nature is unshakable, untouched by events. Nash's dignity was tested when he lost everything, his job, his sanity, even his self image. The art of living empowers people to rediscover inner strength. Sudarshan Kriya cleanses emotional toxins, while meditation reveals a space that is beyond trauma. Satsangs rebuild confidence through community. Wisdom from Gurudev explains that we are not our roles or titles. Seva lets us contribute even when we are broken. In time, these practices rebuild not just dignity but divinity rooted in self respect, grace, and faith. How do we balance solitude and social connection like Nash needed to? Gurudev says balance between solitude and society is yoga. Nash was a solitary thinker but suffered deeply in isolation. Art of Living teaches how to enjoy both worlds. Meditation nourishes the inner silence. Satsang brings joyful connection without emotional entanglement, while Seva enables meaningful interactions. Gurudev's wisdom points out that solitude is not loneliness, it's communion with the self. Practices like Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2 deepen this connection. Social connection becomes fulfilling when it flows from completeness within. In this way, Nash's need for quiet and society could both be met gracefully and joyfully. How does one forgive oneself for past mistakes or wrong perceptions? Gurudev says, forgive yourself, drop the past like a dry leaf. Nash felt guilt for how his condition affected others. Many suffer from self blame, so Darshan Kriya clears past impressions that keep guilt alive. Pujas and humas help cleanse karmic baggage. Meditation helps you witness the mind, not judge it. Gurudev's wisdom says the soul is untouched by actions. Awareness leads to freedom. Seva creates new karma and helps one feel useful again. Forgiveness arises when you see that mistakes were part of a learning process. With grace, you can transform remorse into wisdom. How can families deal with fear and stigma around mental health? Gurudev insists mental health is as real and sacred as physical health. Alicia faced societal stigma around Nash's condition. Families today still struggle. Art of Living builds awareness through workshops, satsangs, and wisdom sessions. Sudarshan prayer reduces stress and builds resilience for family members. Pujas like Navgraha, Shanti Homa, or Rudra Puja create energetic harmony. Meditation helps dissolve emotional burden. Gurudev says books such as Intimate Note to the Sincere Seeker provide tools to understand and uplift rather than blame or isolate. Healing is not just for the patient, it's for the whole family. How can professional ambition be aligned with spiritual growth? Gurudev says and shares, be ambitious for the highest, realize yourself. Nash's ambition drove him to greatness but also pain. Ambition can elevate or entangle depending on the intent. Art of Living teaches Karma Yoga, work without craving for results. Sudarshan Kriya calms restlessness while Seva channels ambition into compassion. Meditation helps drop ego and reconnect with purpose. Books like Celebrating Silence show how a success and surrender can coexist. When ambition is aligned with service and dharma, it becomes a spiritual journey. One achieves not just outer goals but inner freedom. How does the practice of Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2 deepen? One's awareness like Nash's brilliance. Gurudev says Sanyam Sadhana is the art of effortless awareness. Nash had moments of intuitive genius when he could see patterns others couldn't. Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2 enhances such subtle perception through intense silence, awareness, and meditation. It refines the intellect and opens the intuitive mind. Participants report heightened creativity, sharper decision making, and inner stillness coupled with Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama. It balances the left and right brain activity. Nash's brilliance was rare, but these practices can awaken each person's dormant genius. Gurudev says awareness is the key. When awareness expands, life blossoms. Jai Gurudev, how can someone detach from their inner critical voice like Nash's self doubt? Gurudev says the mind is like a mad monkey. Don't fight it, observe it. Nash constantly battled a self critical inner voice, many of us do. Sudarshan Kriya brings awareness to this mental chatter and helps to solve it. Meditation, especially Sahat Samadhi meditation, trains us to witness thoughts without identifying with them. Gurudev's wisdom teaches you are not the mind, you are the silence behind it. Recalls and helps anchor the mind in spiritual rhythm. As one meditates and serves, the inner critic loses power. Seva gives meaning beyond self analysis, while slowly compassion replaces criticism inside and out. How can people ground themselves in the present, especially in a distracted mind? Gurudev reminds the present moment is a doorway to the divine. Nash, lost in hallucinations or intense thought, miss the now. We all get caught in past regrets or future worries. Sudarshan Kriya clears mental fog. Pranayama brings immediate awareness to the breath, which anchors us to the now. Gurudev's talk emphasizes the joy of being overthinking. Daily meditation trains us to return to this moment. Seva forces action rooted in the now, while Padmasada energizes the body and makes it alert. When the body is light and the mind is clear, the present becomes not a task but a delight. How does one stay consistent on the spiritual path amidst setbacks? Gurudev says consistency comes with love, not pressure. Nash had years of remission and relapses, Sudarshan sadhaks, and similarly sadhaks face enthusiasm and fatigue, the key is to return without guilt. Sudarshan Kriya is a powerful daily anchor. Satsang revives motivation and group practice builds energy. Gurudev encourages taking knowledge lightly but sincerely. His books like Celebrating Silence are reminders even when practices lapse, grace doesn't leave. Pujas and retreats rejuvenate the seeker. And seva keeps one connected even when inward practices weakens. As Gurudev says, fall 10 times, rise 11, that's progress. How can logic and faith coexist as seen in Nash's life and Gurudev's teachings? Gurudev beautifully says faith is not against logic, it's beyond logic. Nash was a man of mathematics, but his healing came through love, something logic couldn't fully explain. In Art of Living, logical techniques like pranayama and Sudarshan Kriya give tangible benefits. At the same time, we embrace pujas, mantras, meditation, homas, devotion, which is beyond the intellect. Gurudev bridges East and West, reason and faith. His explanations of Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and neuroscience make ancient wisdom accessible. Faith is like an umbrella. It doesn't cancel the rain or logic, it helps you walk through it with grace. Both have their place on the path. How can people trust again after betrayal or loss, as Alicia did? Gurudev gently reminds, don't let someone else's mistake rob you of your openness. Alicia stayed with Nash even when trust was shaken. In our lives, betrayal closes the heart. Sudarshan Kriya clears emotional pain stored in the nervous system. Meditation softens the guarded heart. Wisdom from Gurudev teaches that trust is your nature, not just a transaction. Satsang opens us to community and love again. Through Seva, we rebuild faith in humanity. His knowledge sheets speak often of forgiveness, detachment, and moving beyond hurt. To trust again is to heal not just the other, but oneself. Jai Gurudev, how can couples support each other during mental or emotional challenges? Gurudev says a relationship is not about demanding, it's about offering. Alicia didn't try to fix Nash, she stood by him. Similarly, when one partner struggles, the other can offer stability through presence. Sudarshan Kriya helps both individuals manage stress and react less. Sevadhan together builds a deeper bond, while couple meditation practices deeper connection. Gurudev encourages humor, space, and silence in relationships. His secrets of relationships talks are treasures. When both partners grow spiritually, the relationship becomes a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Emotional health becomes a shared journey. How can we channel obsession into purpose like Nash eventually did? Gurudev explains an intense mind is a gift when directed rightly. Nash's obsessive nature led to genius, but also pain. Many have passion that turns into fixation. Art of Living channels that energy through structured discipline. So Darshan Kriya balances the nervous system. Padma Sadhana calms hyperactivity. Wisdom helps reframe obsession into dedication, while Seva transforms a fixation into selfless contribution. Gurudev often shares how saints and scientists alike achieved greatness through one pointed focus. The trick is to keep purpose over ego. When guided by wisdom, obsession becomes devotion. When rooted in Seva, it serves the world. How can one reconcile their inner genius with their inner wounds? Gurudev says, don't be afraid of your intensity, use it to dive within. Nash was brilliant yet broken. Many of us have talents tangled in pain. Sudarshan Kriya helps us heal the emotional layers clouding our gifts. Meditation reconnects us to silence where wounds dissolve and clarity arises. Gurudev's talks on emotions show how to use suffering as a doorway to compassion. Shakti Kriya increases prana and brings balance, while Seva allows us to share gifts without ego. Through AOL, we learn you don't have to be healed to serve, you get healed by serving. How does Gurudev's wisdom view scientific excellence and spiritual depth? Gurudev beautifully says science is the study of what is, while spirituality is the study of who is. Nash's work reflected intellectual excellence. Gurudev encourages using the intellect fully while realizing its limits. In AOL, fully while many scientists, doctors, and researchers find balance in meditation and spiritual insight, Sudarshan Kriya has been scientifically studied for its effects on stress and cognition. Gurudev supports a rational inquiry alongside spiritual experience. His presence draws both Nobel laureates and mystics. Spirituality doesn't replace science, it enhances it. The intellect blooms when rooted in inner silence. Jai Gurudev.